What's up, guys? It's been a while. I haven't really been doing any videos lately other than live streaming. Uh, some iRacing. Just haven't had much to talk about, right? But Saturday, the Clash, so we are officially on our way to the 2024 season. So just wanted to touch on my thoughts on the upcoming season as far as the drivers, where they stack up, and where I expect them to be by the end of the year. These are just my thoughts. I guess some of you might consider it predictions. I don't want to call it predictions because these are just my thoughts, right? Um, I don't feel super strong about anything enough to say I'm predicting this. This is just like, as a fan, my thoughts as far as where each individual driver stacks up. So without further ado, let's get started. So we're gonna go car by car and just I'm gonna go by number. So we'll start at number one, Ross Chastain. Um, I kind of have him. What top contender? These are the guys that I expect to be running for a championship. Strong performer is like a notch below, but I wouldn't be surprised if they actually end up contending for a championship by the end of the year. So just keep in mind what this is. Then mid pack just means you're probably going to run mid pack most of the time. Once in a while, you might have a top 10, you might have a strong race here and there, but you're not really performing at a high level, right? And mid pack, it could go either way. You might have a real crappy season, you might have a better than expected season. So mid pack is just mid pack. Field filler is you're just kind of showing up and just trying to survive. Not really running well, being more or less a field filler. And then, of course, why the fuck are they on the track? This is who I expect to just be. I expect absolutely nothing from them, and I think they're going to struggle. So, that's explaining that. So, we're going to start number one, Ross Chastain. This is not as easy for me to really decipher, right? Again, I do. He made the playoffs. He ran pretty well last year. Do I see him winning a championship? I don't know, man. It wouldn't shock me if he got to the end, but that because of how strong the field is, you're going to see a lot of contenders that I think they're just stronger. The real issue for me is Trackhouse Racing is not, in my opinion, a top tier team. They still have a ways to go, and they are much like Chip Ganassi Racing was, never a top tier team. There was one time where they legitimately were a top tier team for a very brief period. That's when Sterling Marlin was having a career year and they were dominating, and he was on pace to win a championship, right? This was when? 2003? 2002? I don't remember exactly, but that's when Jamie McMurray came, had to take over because Sterling Marlin was hurt. The main point is that Chip Ganassi Racing has always been a team that could show up any week and have winning speed, but not consistent. Like, then they'll have you just don't know what you're going to get. They had the potential to be better than they were, but they just never got over that hump. So Chip Ganassi Racing was never really a top tier team. Trackhouse got off to a big start. They're still a young organization. I think that's something people need to keep in mind. They are not on, the top is Hendrick, Gibbs, and Penske, right? Stuart Haas was top contender, top tier, and then they really fell, right? I do think they're back on the right direction, but I'm not sure they're a top tier team. I think they are just a notch below. So when you look at that, there's only three top tier teams, and that's Hendrick, Gibbs, and Penske. Trackhouse is not a top tier team, but they do run strong. They can show up anytime and contend, right? So because of that, I have to put Ross at strong performer. He could break through and become a contender by the year's end, but that depends on Trackhouse Racing. Can they improve? Can they elevate themselves as an organization where every week they show up and they're consistent and they're ready, to compete for wins? Gotta be honest, they're not there yet. So because of that whole thing, he's definitely talented. I gotta put him at strong performer. Again, anyone who lands in the strong performer category absolutely has every opportunity to break through and become a top contender, right, for the championship. But I gotta see more, right? Going into the season, being honest, this is where I place him. So now we go on to number 2. So Austin Cindric. This guy has not impressed me at all. I don't see enough. I think that the Cup Series is too competitive. He needs to show a lot more before I even put him in the strong performer category. Because he's a Penske driver, it is Penske equipment, and he is pretty good at road courses with all the road courses that are there. And then you got your pack races at Daytona, Talladega. Certainly, he can break through, right? Because of that. And because he's driving for Penske. So for that reason, I'm going to put him mid-pack, right? If it wasn't for the Penske equipment, I just don't see anything about this guy that's impressive. So now we move on to Austin Dillon. Number 3, Childress is on par, in my opinion, with Trackhouse, with RFK. Actually, RFK might be a notch above, but I never liked Austin Dillon. I think that he's definitely had his opportunities because of his grandfather, who owns, Richard Childress, right? That being said, he has won some big races. I don't know. I gotta put him. I don't know if like he lands for me right in between, right here, like mid pack. He's better than mid pack. He is not good enough to be here. So what do I do with him? I gotta say, I'm gonna put him mid pack. Again, mid pack. There's always a chance you could creep into the next level up. I don't know. I got to see more before I put him in the second tier. Yeah. So now we go to the number 4 car, which is going to be driven by Josh Berry. I do think, even with all their struggles, Stewart-Haas Racing is headed in the right direction. In the second half of last year, we did see better performance. It wasn't by a lot, but the 4 car was the top car of that team. And so, I don't know, man. I haven't seen enough from Josh Berry. He is definitely respectable. Like, I think he can bring the car home without wrecking? Maybe, breaking through a couple times throughout the year. Maybe get a couple top 10s here and there. I could see that, but I don't know. He is not Kevin Harvick. Kevin Harvick really, I think, did elevate that team. Um, and I don't know enough about Josh Berry. I haven't seen enough in the Cup Series to really put him as a strong performer. I'm going to put him mid-pack. Again, he could easily elevate, and they could probably creep into this second tier. But up to this point, I have to go with where are we right now and what I think going in. This could change 4 weeks, 5 weeks into the season. Some of these guys here may be running really strong, and maybe the organizations have picked up the pace. That can change. But I got to be honest, as of now, this is where I rank going in. So now we have, of course, Kyle Larson in the number 5. This is very easy. Top contender. He will be a threat for a championship. There's nothing else to say. It's a Hendrick car, Hendrick organization, top level driver. There's nothing else to say. So now we have Brad Keselowski. Lots of experience. RFK is definitely on the way up. I honestly think they're, as an organization, I'm saying, they might be ahead of Trackhouse. And his experience, he's a former champion. He should have won a couple races. He just, for luck or whatever reason, hasn't done it. They made the playoffs, and they have a lot of momentum and consistency as well. Like, he ran really well consistently. I don't remember him really having too many really bad races. I just feel like they are headed in the right direction. I have to put him, based on last year and where they're going and the way things seem to be going. Again, Ford across the board is headed in the right direction. Even Stewart Haas, I think, is headed in the right direction. Not at the same pace as RFK. So, out of respect to him and the way things are going, I'm going to put them as a contender for a championship. I maybe not as strong. I wouldn't put them on pace with like a Kyle Larson, but they do deserve mention up there because of what they showed last year. So, who is next? Of course, we have our buddy Stacking Pennies here. Oh, my God. I always have these problems where I... simple shit I forget. Corey. You guys know who I'm talking about. He is mid-pack. He's had a couple of decent runs here and there, but... yeah. I'm not going to put him as a field filler because that... I don't know. Mid-pack, but he could be almost a field filler. I'll put him at mid-pack. That's all I can say about that. Kyle Busch, championship contender. What is there to say? You got a great driver. I do think that Childress is better than I thought they were. Like, after, Kyle Busch clearly, it's just head and shoulders runs better than the 3-car. So it shows you that I think Childress is potentially a better organization than what we've seen. But, of course, this guy's an anchor. He's just dragging this 3-car back. But, Kyle Busch is a championship contender. And I think that, it wouldn't shock me if he's there at the end. Now we go to Chase Elliott. I think he is going to have a big comeback this year. He's a great driver, former champion, and it's a Hendrick car. That's an automatic. There's just nothing else to say. If you're a Chase Elliott fan, I think you could look forward to have him having a big year. It's a stacked field, man. Like, the competition is at its highest level that I've seen in a long time. In other words, there's too many guys that legit could win a championship, and it wouldn't shock me at all. So now we go to the 10 car. This is Noah Gragson. I am not impressed with Noah Gragson at all in Cup, right? Whatever he did in Xfinity, that's one thing. I think he's just, I don't know. He's driven, I don't know, like over his head. I don't know if he's over aggressive. It's just, he really doesn't look like he belongs. In all fairness, he is young. He hasn't had that many starts in Cup. He's going to have a full-time schedule now. So I'm going to put him mid-pack and just see what happens, right? But I'm not, so far, not impressed. That's just how I feel about it. Now we have Denny Hamlin with the 11, championship contender. He's still driving as good as he's ever driven. It's a Gibbs car. This is a no-brainer. Same thing for Blaney. Ryan Blaney, I would have put him as a strong performer before last year. But say what you want about the playoffs. You can't take anything away. You know, he won a championship. He did it under the current system. It is what it is. Whether you like it or not, he won that championship fair and square. And he has always been a very talented driver. I think a lot of times you win a championship in any sport, you get even better. Like a lot of times, once you get over that hump, the confidence level is just another notch higher. I think having that championship, getting that monkey off his back, winning some big races, he's as good as anybody and has a good of a chance as anyone to win a championship. So that's a no-brainer for me. Now we go to 13. All right, the 14, Chase Briscoe, mid-pack. He hasn't shown anything. Another driver that just does not impress me at all. You know, I don't think anything of him. It is what it is. The 16 car, hold on a second. I want to check something real quick because there is a bit of a mix-up. I know the 16 are they splitting time? Is that a split? I know Allmendinger he's going to run a couple races, I think. He's no longer full-time. Who else is going to be in the 16? Josh Williams. Hold on. Also, okay, Hemrick's at the 31. Justin Haley's going to Rick Ware. Okay. Zane Smith is Spire. Kaz Grala is going to drive the 15 for Rick Ware. Okay, so... Oh, shit. Hold on. Alright, so there's no 15 here. Wait a minute. Yeah, the 15's not popping up, but it's Rick Ware, Kaz Grala. I would just put them as a field filler. I just have no idea what they're going to do. It doesn't really matter, but I don't see that here. So now we got the 16. I know, yeah, they're going to be splitting... Hold on a second. They just announced something else. Give me a second, guys. Okay, Shane Van Gisberg's going to drive a handful of 7 races for the 16. So they have an alliance with Trackhouse, right? So, yeah, it's a bunch of different drivers driving. I'm going to put them as field filler. There's just too many different drivers. It really doesn't matter where they run. You know, I like SVG. I'm definitely going to be curious to see what he does. But, yeah, they're pretty much, I think, a growing team. They're trying to figure things out. They're going to struggle. And there's too many different drivers. Doesn't really matter. I think they're at the field filler spot. So, who is next? 17. And I'm going to pretty much, he really had a career year last year, but he's been super strong almost everywhere. RFK is really solid. I think, again, RFK is, I would place them slightly above Trackhouse as an organization and building cars. And they, he's made the playoffs and was a threat. I just, out of respect, just from what he did last year, just like Brad Keselowski, I'm going to put him as a championship contender. That it's only fair. Yeah, there's nothing else to say about that. Martin Truex, he's a great driver. I got to put him there again. It's a Gibbs car. I think he is nearing the end of his career, but he still he shows up. He can win races. I think they had one of the worst playoffs of anybody, but that can happen to anybody. You get some bad luck, mechanical failures, just some, everything that could go wrong went wrong. I don't see that happening twice. I think he is gonna not only make the playoffs but be a strong contender. Christopher Bell again, Gibbs. Okay. Christopher Bell, Gibbs, ran strong last year, was a strong contender. There's nothing to say. He's also a championship contender. 21, Harrison Burton. This guy is only in Cup right now because of his family name. The guy's been terrible. Say what you want. This 21 car has run so much better with other people. We've seen Matt DiBenedetto. We've seen Ryan Blaney. We've seen other drivers come to that Wood Brothers team and perform much better week after week. If he broke in to get a couple of top 10s, top 15s just throughout the season, I could see something there. He has been terrible. If it wasn't for his performance in Xfinity, I would just say this dude is a fucking field filler. Based on the strength of the 21 as an organization, they're not a top tier team, but they are so much better than what he's shown. So, and he's just terrible. I don't know, man. He's probably one of the biggest disappointments in the Cup Series. And he's still there based on the strength of his family ties. I don't know, man. Yeah, I got to put him as a field filler. Like, even Austin Dillon outperforms him. Yeah, he's a field filler. That's a problem. Joey Logano, 22. This is a no-brainer. He's always going to be a contender for the championship. Nothing else to say there. Bubba Wallace. I'm going to put him as a strong performer, but I would not be surprised if he broke through and became a championship contender. I'm not going to put him there yet. But put aside your personal feelings. I know there's a lot of people out there who hate this guy. Put that aside. I don't think anyone, if they're being serious and honest, can say this guy is not impressive. Where he came in and where he is now, his career is up. It's going up. And I think there's still a ceiling that he hasn't hit yet. He's getting better everywhere. Like, at first, he can't win. Then he can't win outside of a pack race. Pack racing, I don't really take it too serious. You guys know how I feel about it. I never got all that, anybody could win. I give you that. But then he won at Kansas. And not only that, he actually shown race-winning performance and speed at many races, but then something always happens, whether it's bad luck, a mistake by the pit crew, whatever it may be. He's just not there yet. But if you land in the strong performer category, it wouldn't surprise me. Any of these guys who land in this level break through by mid-season. It could happen. He to me, if there was a most improved driver award, he wins it for 2023. I don't think anyone has improved as much as Bubba Wallace. Look, even road courses, right, which is somewhere where he was mediocre. He's not at the top level like the guys that you that don't surprise to win races and road courses. He's not there, but he's definitely improved from where he was terrible to mediocre. Now he runs really strong. Strong meaning, okay, top tens is not out of the question. He's not gonna go. He's not gonna win, right? But he could fall between 5th and 10th. That's not even a surprise. And if you look at the actual races, the road course races, his pace is up there with almost anybody. I think his confidence is grown. If you are a Bubba Wallace fan like I am, you should be very excited. I think Michael Jordan and Denny Hamlin should be ecstatic with where he is and where he's growing. Honestly, very impressed. I'm impressed by his growth. So I think the future is bright and the sky's the limit. I think if as he learns, hopefully he can manage his emotions better and make less mistakes. And I think he did have some bad luck here and there last year. There were races he legit was contending and could have won, and things didn't fall his way. That's part of racing. It is what it is. But anybody who doesn't think he's a strong performer, I'm not putting him at ready to fight for a championship yet, but this is nothing to sneeze at. Anybody who thinks he's below this, then I don't think you're being honest. So yeah, I think you should be excited if you are a Bubba Wallace fan for the future. My only concern for him is psychological, like handling his emotions and keeping, focus. If he could do that, I think he's a serious threat in the future. So that's where I have him. Here we go. Byron, where's the 24? Okay, I'm blind. Championship contender. What else is there to say? Probably one of the best drivers last season. Won a lot of races. He could win a championship. It's not even a thought for me. Who's next? I don't know if we have every driver here. I'm just going by what's here. If there's anybody who's not here, you guys let me know. I know, like I said, that 15 car for Rick Ware is not here, but it doesn't really matter. Who's next? I guess 31. Colleague. Who's it colleague? Hold on a second. That's the other colleague car. Hold on. Team chart. This doesn't show me. All right. Daniel Hemrick. Okay, so it's Daniel Hemrick. Okay. I'm sorry, guys. Hold on a second. Daniel Hemrick. I think he drove for Childress before. This guy does not impress me at all. This team isn't strong. He's a field filler. Now we have 34 car. He's been strong. I think he's almost overachieved in this car. And I don't know what it is. I keep thinking they're going to fall back. I keep thinking they're just going to drop at some point. But you know what? McDowell deserves credit. What do I do with this guy? You know what? I don't know. Like I would put him between mid pack and strong performer, but he does deserve. He's really driven. If you look at the past 3 years, he's really. I think he's peaked, right? I just don't see him doing better. If anything, I think he's hit a ceiling, and maybe you might start to see him drop, unless this team has a dramatic improvement when where as an organization building cars and just bringing better speed to the track. I think he's peaked, and I think this is the highest I could put him. This is nothing to sneeze at, and I do think that as an organization they're not as good as even the other guys here. You got Gilliland. He's a mid pack. He hasn't shown anything. You know what? He might even be a field filler. I'm going to put him at field filler. I don't see anything from him or that team. Sorry. Now we go to Priest. Again, I mid pack. I haven't seen anything more than that. And I do think that because I think Stewart Haas is headed in the right direction, they're just it's not as not as quickly or as dramatically as like 2311 or even RFK, right? They're headed in the right direction, but slowly. Because of that, he's mid pack. If it wasn't for that, I would put him at field filler, but okay. Now we have the 42. That is who's driving that? Hold on a second. I forgot for a second. Okay, John Hunter Nemechek. Now, I remember Nemechek driving the 38, and he actually was, for that car, I think he overachieved, and he did impress me. And then he dropped back to Xfinity. No, he went to truck. And I was like, I thought he was good enough to get a ride somewhere, but it does seem to work out. I'm not impressed with Legacy Motor Club. They are not. I think they're a mid-tier team. But I think he is talented. It wouldn't surprise me if he kind of elevated that team. I'll put him mid-pack. Maybe, like, if there was a middle of field filler and mid-pack, I'll put him at mid-pack. Because I do think he's going to drive. He might surprise some people and drive better than people think. But I remember he was. He didn't embarrass himself when he was in Cup. The thing was, this is the next gen car, and I don't really know how he's gonna do there. So I gotta put him mid pack. Tyler Reddick is a championship contender. I think the guy is extremely talented. And I do think he is slightly ahead of Bubba Wallace in terms of just talent. I will say, I think Bubba Wallace kind of kept up with him for the most part last season. I still think if I was a betting man, and I do put him a little bit above Bubba Wallace right now. That can change, right? But he's gonna. I don't see him not getting in the playoffs, and the guy's fast. He's been very competitive at a lot of races where something always seems to happen, and then they're just like out of contention. But it's not because of the driver. So yeah, he's extremely talented, and he's shown he can win just about anywhere. And 2311 is on the way up. So, and I think 2311 is ahead of Trackhouse in terms of performance as an organization. So I'm hoping Trackhouse picks up the pace and just as an organization brings better cars every week on a consistent basis. I want them to get away from like what Chip Ganassi was. To me, Trackhouse reminds me a lot of Chip Ganassi, and it feels that way. Like, it's not surprising when they're fast, but they don't do it every week like the top tier teams do. And I'm hoping they get better. I really do, because I do think they have a way to go. Okay. Next is Stenhouse. Stenhouse, to me, had a great year last year. For this team, I don't know. He didn't really do anything in the playoffs. Like, he did what he had to do. They won a Daytona 500. Again, I don't care about that. To me, that's the most overrated race, I think, in all of racing. I'm not impressed by pack races. He did run really strong most of the year. Again, if I could put him in between mid-pack and strong performer, I would. I don't see him as a strong performer. I think he really... I was impressed with what he did with this equipment. I got to put him mid-pack. It wouldn't surprise me if they ran strong again this year. I just don't see him... I don't know. I think mid-pack's okay for him, for what he did. 47. Oh, I just skipped the 43. I'm sorry, guys. I have to put him mid-pack. Yeah, I overlooked the 43 car. I do think he could be, like, I don't know. He's had a couple of strong runs, but again, Legacy Motor Club, I don't see them ready for anything. Not yet. They got to really grow as an organization. Maybe Jimmy Johnson gets them there. Who knows? I don't see it yet. They're mid-pack. So here we go with the 48. Alex Bowman is a funny case. He might be the only Hendrick driver that I can't put as a championship contender. I'm putting him as a strong performer. He is talented. He has shown the ability to win a race here and there. But I think he's probably, of all the Hendrick drivers right now, the weakest. And I don't know. Because this top contender field is so stacked and strong, I don't see him on that level. So strong performer is okay. That's it. I mean, I don't know what else to say. Who's the 51? Let me check real quick. I don't know who's driving the 51. Is that Rick Ware car? I don't remember. It doesn't really matter. That's a field filler car. I don't remember who's driving that, and I couldn't find who. Mr. Ty Gibbs. He's very talented. And he's driving a Gibbs car. I don't know, man. I might put him as a contender. I don't know what it is. It's a Gibbs car. And it is... I mean, the guy has shown talent. It is a stacked field, but I honestly think he's going to have a strong year. I don't know how deep he'll get in the playoffs, but I expect him to make the playoffs. I got to put him as a top contender because it's he is talented and he's driving for Gibbs. I don't know what else to say. It's a gut feel for me. I'm not a fan of his. Don't like him, but I got to be, it is what it is. Let's see, 71 car is... That's a Spire car. Now, I know... Who's driving that? No, Carson Hocevar is driving the 77. That's not a full-time car, I don't think. It's Spire. I don't fucking remember exactly. I'm just going to put them as field filler. Same for the 77. That's a field filler car. 84, Jimmy Johnson. I don't know what's he going to run, 2 or 3 races. Why is he even here? His days are long gone. It's a fucking Legacy Motorsport Club car. I don't even. Ugh, he might. To me, he's a why the fuck is he even on the track? This is like one of those cars. It might pop up once in a while. Don't expect anything to happen when he does show up. Yeah, field filler. And last but not least is Suarez. Suarez, I'm really afraid for him. That's my guy. Last year, I would have put him here as a strong performer. I think he is talented, but I gotta be honest. I'm dropping him to mid pack. Like I would put him between mid pack and strong performer if I could, but I have to be honest. I'm putting him mid pack because I think he is on the hot seat. I hate to say it. I wish I would hear that they signed him long term and he's got a guaranteed seat for years to come. But I can't honestly say that. At the end of the day, this is a business. And there's just too many young drivers in the lower series. NASCAR is not what it used to be, where you can have guys that are veterans and they get a lot more leeway and patience from owners and stuff like that and sponsors. But this is the Cup Series right now. It's tough to hold on to a seat, and if you're not performing to where people think you should be, and to be honest, yeah, he has shown speed. He has also shown potential, but he's also had a lot of bad luck and a lot of bad runs, and yeah, bad luck is a lot of things that are out of your hand, but at the end of the day, you still have to perform. You still gotta have, finishes that are, where you should finish. And he hasn't had the same finishes that Ross Chastain has had. I still believe in him. I think he is talented. But unfortunately, like I said, I'm not. Trackhouse is not consistently building cars that can show up every week like the top level cars and like, okay, we know we can perform every week. They're not there. And I think they have lost ground to, if you're just talking about new teams, 2311 I think is ahead of them. Maybe not by a lot, but these are young teams and they need something to get them over the hump. And I'm really scared for Suarez. I think if he doesn't have the type of year that Bubba Wallace had last year, this is a good comparison for me, right? These are my two favorite drivers. But when you look at the trajectory, who is actually improving and showing more potential and actually, should excite the owner, Bubba Wallace is actually growing and getting better at places nobody expects him to do well, like road courses and these other tracks. And he's actually, the most impressive thing was not just making the playoffs. He was one of the best drivers in the first half of the playoffs. So say what you will, Bubba Wallace has been, like I said, I would give him the most improved driver award last year. I think, when it comes to Suarez, it's almost the opposite. He's slowly just I don't know what it is, but I'm afraid for him. I think that if he doesn't have like what Bubba Wallace did last year, if he doesn't have a year like that where he's just consistently running for top tens at least or top fives, making the playoffs and showing something, or at least run on par with Ross Chastain, he is in trouble. And I hate saying it. That's my guy. But I have to be honest. I always keep things honest with you guys. And, yeah, I hope I think, all right. I hope you guys didn't have that blocked the whole time. Probably did. Let me see something real quick. Holy shit, I think I did. Okay, I apologize. So you see where everybody is. But yeah, I'm afraid for Suarez. I really hope he has. I'm rooting for him so hard. But he needs to show that level of a season and improvement that Bubba Wallace did last year. So those are my thoughts. It somehow looks like the field, like there's more cars that are missing. Let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38. No, 36. All right, whatever. There might be a couple cars missing, but there's nothing of importance. These are the main players. That's pretty much what I think where things are going to stack up this year. Like I said, these guys here, they could break through, make the playoffs, and show something. These guys are very capable of that. And these guys could probably run into the strong performer category. Anybody where they are can actually break through to the next level. Like, it could happen. But, like, Suarez, I expect more from him. And I could see him bust through into this kind of tier. But like I said, I'm being honest with you guys. This is where he is. He's on the hot seat. And I hope he could step his game up and show like Bubba Wallace did last year. So those are my thoughts. I look forward to your comments. Let me know what you think of this tier group and what you think of, what I had to say. So anyway, when there's something to do, to talk about in terms of videos, there's no news on the video game front. And the season hasn't started yet. So that's why I haven't been doing videos. I don't want to just do videos fluff, for no reason. So, yeah. Anyway, I look forward to your comments later.